Hey guys, what's going on? What I'm seeing be happening within the energy right now is there being some type of change that has happened, and it feels like it allows a situation to maybe become workable in some way. Maybe prior to this point, you could have been looking at things and feeling like there wasn't really anything left maybe to work with, but then it looks like something going on that allows for a necessary change, which can bring back the opportunity for things to be worked on, for there to be some sort of progress that can be made. We are starting off with the Hanged Man. And Ace of Cups and Justice. All right. So when we have the Hanged Man, it can indicate that the right pieces needed to fall into place in order for something to work. The timeline can be different than we expect it to. Usually it means that things are taking, I'm seeing my hair in the camera. Usually it means that things end up, we expect things to happen like in this way, at this time, on this date. Having Hanged Man there can be like, sorry, I got held up. This needed to happen. That needed to happen. What it can also do is show us things that we were not seeing before. So after Hanged Man, which can be something that allows us to look at a situation in a different way than we had maybe initially been seeing it or priorly been seeing it. Now, as our perspective widens and opens up, and as time has passed, seeing the Ace of Cups there is like seeing something that maybe you didn't know was available before. Maybe it like actually wasn't available before. So whether it's like, well, now's the time and it's here, or I couldn't see it before, but I can see it now. I'm seeing there be opportunity here that I think before maybe wasn't being perceived, or it just like wasn't available yet. But now it feels like it's come around. But there can be something about this that it almost feels like it wasn't there before, but now it's here. I'm seeing Justice. I want to know what that's about. I could guess, but I'd rather get a clarifier. Maybe this is the hope that things could be good within this chapter, like things actually could work, like it has a chance to go somewhere. And that can mean too everybody kind of showing up as well, especially if that wasn't fully happening before. There can be something too about like fairness, about equality when it comes to participation within this as well. Like, because justice is going to be connected with everybody feeling good about this situation for the most part. It's not going to be like, well, it's benefiting one person, but then the other person is like really being taken advantage of. That's not going to be happening when we have justice. But there could have been something that needed to happen. Something with the Hanged Man that needed to happen. Something had to be set up, something had to fall into place before this could even be a possibility. But whatever that was that needed to happen, it's now taken place, it's now fallen into place, and so it feels like this thing is actually here, this thing is available. But there could have even been a question of like if this would even sort of come together at all in the first place. Now it feels like there's a way to do this. And that can mean maybe everybody having a better understanding of what's sort of like expected of them, what's needed of them. There can be like a feeling of promise, a feeling of responsibility, even like everybody willing to put in the work. That can be the feeling too here with this. someone can even feel like I understand the importance of how I show up and the responsibility that I have if this is something that I'm signing on for, right? Because justice is also, it's not just about everybody feeling like things are fair, like stuff being good as far as like the outcome of things, but the way that we're doing it isn't really correct. Like when you think of justice, when you think of the energy of Libra, it's about us doing things properly, like there being integrity within the process, and there being honesty within the process, and there being commitment, and there being responsibility of us understanding the responsibility of what it is to sign on for something and to participate in it. So maybe this is something where it's like that wasn't recognized before, and it can be recognized now. Like I get how it's like correct or in alignment for me to be showing up now, and there can be focus that's being put on this. Like, this is good for me. Is that good for you too? Is this working for you the way that I'm showing up? How do you feel about that? There can be things like this that are now being integrated into the process. But maybe I get the feeling like this wasn't going on before. Like something was happening before where I feel like this maybe didn't click yet. Something has happened that now there's an awareness of this, where I feel like maybe it just like it wasn't learned before, it wasn't understood before, something was going on where this couldn't fully happen, but now it feels like there can be a full showing up, and there's a conscientiousness that's connected with it, and there's also a feeling of connection experienced. This can mean too that one had to understand their own personal values as well. And maybe that was something that wasn't being understood before. Yeah, if we are not expressing ourselves honestly, if we are still doing shadow ego stuff, feels like not being able to sort of show up honestly within the process. And it feels kind of like integrity is the factor here of I'm showing up and acting the same whether somebody's watching me or nobody else is in the room watching what I'm doing, because I'm aware of how it is that I want to be showing up here, and I'm doing this, I think, like entirely in a way as far as like doing what we feel like is correct for ourselves, which means that I'm not basing the way that I'm showing up on these external factors. So I'm going to show up the same whether somebody's watching or not. And that can be something that's kind of falling into place here, where before there could have been a, like, maybe I can get away with it if nobody else is in the room watching me, not understanding that that is going to be us slighting ourselves in some way. So there can be an awakening to that. And it can be something deliberate, or it can even be something where it's like I'm not even in touch with my values enough to know that me showing up out of alignment actually wounds me in some way, or like harms me or damages me in some way. There can be something about that that was not fully understood before. Even if it's just like, this isn't actually aligned with my core values, but I'm showing up and doing things in this way anyway, because I think that I'm getting some sort of advantage, only to realize that it actually disadvantages us to be doing that. And not because of any external like rules or this person thinks it's wrong or whatever. It's about our core values. So this is about you with yourself, within your relationship with yourself, and where you may not have been fully showing up aligned, or maybe somebody that you were dealing with was kind of in that position, whatever it may be. It feels like something has now clicked where there's an understanding of how to come correct to this situation, where I think that may not have been what was going on before. And we can have our reasons for doing that, right? Like in our heads, we can think, before we understand the real energy, the high vibrational energy of Libra, of justice, what we can think is that doing things in a certain way, like manipulating things or not showing this or performing and doing that, that's gonna like keep the peace and make things harmonious, only to realize that when the correct steps are taken, that's the only way that you can get to a legitimate outcome where things feel settled, where they're functioning properly, rather than just being so concerned about like outcome and exterior, that we're actually taking all of these shortcuts trying to make it happen and then not understanding why something is wrong slightly in some way with the outcome. And this can mean too like ways that we have to confront our shadow, because we have Neptune hanging above Seven of Swords. So this is like ways that we can cheat ourselves, and ways that we can lie, and ways that we can convince ourselves that what we're doing is like best for ourselves and best for everybody, when that's like not actually the truth. Because Neptune, we can like really convince ourselves that we're doing the most loving thing, when it really is like coming from your shadow, and it's not coming from your heart being open. But we cannot always see that until we're ready to confront that part of ourselves. So it's something that it really takes time for that to click. And there can even be something here about the throat chakra and needing to be honest as well, because I'm seeing King of Swords be on the bottom of the deck. So it can be really getting real with yourself here and getting real with everybody involved in the situation, and to show up in a way that is honest, really, and to stop avoiding intimacy when that's actually the thing that we want. Seven of Swords connected with Ace of Cups, ways that we actually spoil the connection, thinking that we're gonna get something that we want, when really it's like driving us further away from that. And Hanged Man is about needing to work with our own twisty psychological ways in order to have a deeper understanding of that we can think we're in some way taking a shortcut to what we want, when actually we're pushing it further away from ourselves, but not realizing that until we come into a place where we are willing to be fully, totally, and completely honest with ourselves. And I think really own up to things as well. And that can mean to make things right too. And maybe that was something that wasn't going on before. Now it gives things a real chance to work out, which is reminding me of the energy that I saw in the beginning, which felt like if there were things that were going on before that needed to come to an end, but they weren't being put to an end, it feels like it gave things no chance to be able to be worked on. But now this can mean like, I'm not going to be doing these behaviors anymore. I'm going to be honest with myself, and I'm going to be honest with everybody involved, which means that we can actually work on something. There's actually a chance that things can go well, because there's not this avoidance anymore. There's a willingness to take a look and to own up and to take accountability here, which really changes the game. It means that we can actually have the things that we want, and have the connections that we want, and have them feel functional then. But we have to stop hiding from ourselves, which once we stop hiding from ourselves, then we stop hiding from those around us as well. But yeah, it can get really convoluted when we have Neptune involved, because like Neptune can be that energy when it's not yet a high vibrational energy, where it's like you know the truth, but you say something else to kind of like save someone else's feelings, because we are equating like manipulation with love in some way. And it's like when you kind of step out of it, you see that it's messed up, but when you're in the middle of it, you can like swear you were doing it for the right reasons. So we do have to take the closer look at it. But until that's occurring to us within our relationship with ourselves, we cannot understand the importance of being that way with others, because it's just a reflection of how we can lie to ourselves and escape from ourselves and escape from accountability, labeling it something other than what it actually is. This can be what was really delaying things from moving along in a genuine way. This was where somebody got caught up, hung up some way. This can also be something, like, for each of you it can be different. For some of you it can be like something major that was going on that was being sort of kept underground in some way. For others of you, this can be like not fully showing up or not really allowing yourself to be seen, or like ducking intimacy in some sort of way, but then not being aware that that's really what we were doing. So there is something here where there's like not an avoidance anymore of what it is that we want. And it can even be something too where it's like, I want this so badly and that makes me vulnerable, so I'm gonna run in the opposite direction of it. Even though I want to go towards it, I'm gonna run away. So there can be something like this that's going on here, where there's this like, if I don't confront this part of myself, it's just going to keep putting off me actually connecting with what I want in the way that I want. And it's keeping me from the intimacy and the sense of connection and depth that I seek. And so now this is a transformative correction that's being made, where we even can recognize ourselves in a position of responsibility, but more so from a place of like, I'm responsible for my life, and I've actually been the one that's been dictating the storyline all along here, and I've been the one that's been keeping myself actually from what it is that I want. So now can be the time when you see just how much power you actually have moving through a situation like this. And I think there's like a willingness to show up, because instead of avoiding honest self-expression, we are now embracing it and stepping into it, rather than shying away from being seen and expressing ourselves authentically, which is really the key to being able to connect with what you want now. But yeah, I mean, Seven of Swords and Justice will be a correction that's being made, depending on like how far off things got. That's going to depend on how major a correction this can be. Like for some of you, it could have been something flagrant, it could have been something deliberate, so you can be looking at things and kind of like owning up in a way. For others of you, it can be more so like I guess for everybody, it can be like I was abandoning my values in some way. I was abandoning what I believe to be right in some way. So it's just this confrontation of bypassing that had been being done. I get something about like avoiding taking responsibility. That was what was happening. But I get it almost being like there may not have been a full realization of this unless it was a closer look was being taken. Interesting. So I'm seeing this be kind of a different type of chapter that you are starting, and you can be beginning it feeling like you are clean and clear. At the same time, you can like not know where this is gonna take things. I think there's still some stuff that's being figured out. It feels like it puts a spotlight on something that's still undetermined, something that's still not figured out. But the important thing feels like you are coming into this as clearly as possible and as honestly as possible, even though there's some like mystery with the direction that things are going to be headed in. You know that you're doing things the right way now. You just don't know where exactly that's going to lead then. And before could have been the opposite. It could have been like, you know, it knew exactly where things were going to lead if you moved this piece here and that piece over there. But it could have been like, you didn't maybe feel the best way about how you were showing up when you were moving through that. Now can be like, well, I'm showing up like really honestly, and I can say that that's the truth now, and that I'm willing. I just don't know where that's going to take things then. So maybe also too, this is about being willing to confront the ambiguity of that. And this is something that I've noticed come through in the readings, like maybe over the last day or so. There's something going on where it feels like there's this undetermined energy where there are like different possibilities and we don't really know where exactly things are going to be going, but we're starting off the right way. And that's really what's important. And I think too that you can see things that you weren't necessarily seeing before. Seeing maybe like how uncomfortable you had been with vulnerability before, like allowing yourself to be seen in the state that you're in, especially when you may not be sure of things, and that you being okay with that rather than like putting something out there that's not genuine. Right, because Hanged Man, Neptune energy. Neptune, one of the things that it's connected with is acting. It is performing. Actors are connected with the energy of Neptune. So it can be this like, is this really me or is this not? Like, is this a lie or is this not? Like, am I performing? Is this genuine? And so it can be like confronting these parts of ourselves where we may not know ourselves, where we may not even realize half the time that we're hiding. And then deciding, like, I need to investigate this. I want to see it. I want to understand. And only then are we able to shift the energy around. But yeah, Neptune can be really shape-shifty. And I think we can get lost. We can lose the plot a little bit and then get confused about that. And until we're really willing, you know, it can kind of snowball into things. And now can be the time when you're like, but I feel so disconnected and I don't want to feel disconnected anymore, so I know I got to show up differently. And that really like changes the game for you. It kind of just feels like you're like you're showing up in a different way than you had been before. And it feels more powerful. It feels more potent. But there can also be a feeling, this feeling more weighted, because there is a sense of responsibility now that's actually being stood within that maybe was being avoided a little bit before. That being said, I'm still seeing there be things that have to be sorted, yet you can feel good about the energy that you're showing up within. And I think that's really what's showing up here, what's being highlighted within the reading. You can feel like you're not avoiding taking responsibility for your life, and like even the things that you want, that you're fully showing up for them now. And you may not know what exactly that means or where it's gonna take you, but it can feel real, and that's what's important. All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I am sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.